Okay, we're going to get started. Before the meeting starts, I just wanted to give a little disclaimer that while we are streaming the meeting, we've tried a number of different setups and locations, so we are streaming and recording the meeting right now. So if for some reason the stream drops, the meeting is being recorded and it would be posted to the website tomorrow. Okay.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll rise for the pledge.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody this evening. President Nolan will be here shortly. We have an engagement, and we're going to get right to the highlight of our evening. Dr. Turner, would you please come to the podium and recognize these fantastic students?
You get the turn on. Just hold the button down.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Board of Education for allowing me to speak tonight to honor some of our outstanding winter student athletes. As you may have heard, we've had a pretty outstanding winter season here in Locust Valley. I remember speaking to the board back in the fall about some of our successes from earlier in the year, and I mentioned that it may have been one of our best fall seasons on record here at Locust Valley. And now, just a few months later, I think I can say with confidence that this past winter season has certainly been one of, if not the most successful winter season in Locust Valley history. In addition to our athletic success this season, our indoor track teams, boys and girls basketball teams, and girls bowling team were all just recently named Scholar Athlete teams, demonstrating the incredible balance that our students display as they are able to juggle the pressures of school and sports. Not only that, but so many of our kids are involved in other activities, both inside and outside of the building, defining what it means to be a true student athlete. Our successes this winter began even before the student athletes stepped on the court, as 3 of our basketball players were named to Newsday's preseason top 100 list as one of the best on Long Island. From our boys basketball team, Dominic Marone was named to this list, and on the girls' side, Peyton Teeney and Lindsay Hogan were named as preseason top 100 players. I'd like to ask Dom, Peyton, and Lindsay to come up and please be recognized.
You're a very special child.
Congratulations.
Moving to the math, our wrestling program this year had an exciting year as we began a new journey with new head coach, Coach John Brush, who's here today. Thanks, Coach. And finished the season with 2 New York State Public High School Athletic Association state tournament qualifiers, 2 county finalists, and a county champion. I'd like to first recognize Sean Roberts. Sean finished second in Nassau County in the 215-pound weight class and was named All-County and earned a spot in the New York State Public High School Athletic Association state tournament in Albany. Next, I'd like to recognize Evan Schreiber. Evan was the Nassau County Division II champion at 126 pounds, named All-County, and also earned a spot in the New York State Public High School Athletic Association state tournament in Albany. Evan, will you please? to the track, we had another great season, and we had Sophia Del Giudice finish the season as a conference champion in the shot put and earn all county honors. Sophia, please come up. Continuing on, our boys basketball team also had an incredible run this year, making it to the Nassau County playoffs under first-year head coach Andrew Siegel. Michael Palagonia, in particular, had an incredible season and earned all county honors for his performance. Michael, come on up. Okay, and I'll try to keep this as quickly as I can, but there's too many things, too many honors. I don't know if we have enough time.
You're going over your 3
Our
minutes.
girls basketball team. So we knew we had something pretty special with this group 2 years ago, but I don't know that we realized just how special they were and what impact this group of girls would have on an entire community. And I didn't really script anything for this because I think I just wanted to kind of speak, but I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, we packed out Farmingdale State College for the county final, and I had Pat Pizzarelli, who's the executive director of Section 8, say to me, we've never seen this many people here, even for a boys game. And that says a lot about the talent that we had at the time. We've had media coverage. I've made best friends with Greg Sarah and Andy Slauson over the last couple of weeks. The school spirit in the building, and for the kids, and I know you guys can probably attest to this, this group of girls had such impact on the school spirit in the building, the camaraderie in the building. We had a student come in the other day and say, Dr. we need to do something. Now that girls basketball is over, like we need the spirit now. We need to do something. So just so even like the girls, how much of an impact you've had on the building itself, I don't know if you really realize that. And in the process of all of this, they became not only the Nassau County champions 2 of the last 3 years, but for the first time in Locust Valley history, Long Island champions, and for the first time in Long Island history, the first girls basketball team to win 54 straight games. But I think when people ask me what's so special about this team and what impact they really have had on our building, the first thing that comes to mind is really just the type of people these kids are. And I think we, as a staff, we've talked so much about that over the last couple of months. Quick story, I was with the girls as they were watching one of the JV games one time, and I went up to Peyton in particular, and I said, Peyton, what are we up to, 41, 42 games? She looks at me, she goes, what are you talking about? And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, the streak, like you got 42, right? I don't know, Tom. We just play. I don't know what we're up to. And I couldn't believe that the kids didn't realize that, and that's all I heard about from everybody else. And the kids were like, we just play. It's great. Something else is that they would show up to middle school girls basketball games, totally unannounced, but as a team, to support the next generation of Falcons, and I thought that was really special about this group as well. They're incredible kids, they're incredible athletes, and I'm so excited to honor them tonight. So I'm actually going to first ask Coach Godone, Head Coach Mike Godone, and Assistant Coach Carolyn Morales to come up and help me. Certainly, thank you and congratulations to both of you, because without you this was definitely not possible, so congratulations. So first, for our Nassau County Class B, small school, Long Island champions, and record-setting girls basketball team, our first athlete is Rigo Salfi. Come on up. She is also the class valedictorian, another thing just to we have Gia Valella. I'll also add that both Dom and Gia Valella were the NASA zone recipients from Locust Valley High School. Katie Nabbitt. Juliet Alessi. Victoria Alessi. Janelle Vasquez. Ainsley Johnson. Holly Ward. Mary Lou Famaletti. An all-conference selection, Riley Roberts. An honorable mention all-county selection, Olivia Delgado. Honorable mention all-county and conference defensive player of the year, Amber Linden. Who played the second half of the season on a bum ankle. All-county selection, Peyton Tini. And all-county conference player of the year. She was all Island last year. I forgot to mention that last year, and I haven't forgot about it since. Lindsay Hogan. Lindsay also hit her 1,000 points this year as well, which is nice. One more time, this is our record-setting Long Island champion.
It's like such an exciting season. I like those that I missed.
the town of Oyster Bay.
So working. Can everyone give a round of applause for Dr. Turner? We've got Michelle Johnson from the town of Oyster Bay. I know you guys are trying to get your meeting started, but this is a great opportunity to be here. I'm excited to be back at the high school. Don't get me crying, my kids aren't here. But anyway, I didn't mean to single out Evan. I just was so excited to be in a picture with him because Abby worked so hard, and I know. That's all I really have to say. I want to say congratulations on behalf of our supervisor, Joe Saladino, the entire town board, the 300,000 residents. You guys and girls have done us so proud. These girls over here, another group, I'm not trying to sing out, but Fitty, from Fitty down here to valedictorian, itty bitty amazing. So have a great night, everybody. I did these citations for everybody, and keep going.
Before any of our athletes leave, because I know they are student athletes and they probably have some homework at this point, I did want to just take a moment to thank Pam Kaplan with the camera in her hand there. Some of you might not know that Pam is leaving the district this week. She's taking a different position. And for those of you that are seniors at this point, Ms. Kaplan has been here since you were a kindergartner, taking your picture. So she will be missed by us. It's certainly a great opportunity for Ms. Kaplan and her family, and certainly a big loss for the Locust Valley. As mentioned, this might be the opportunity where some of our athletes leave because they have to do homework, but we are going to move on with our meeting at this time. You're more than welcome to stay.
Now we get a seat. That's what I was worried about.
Hopefully it gets everybody in the gym.
We're ready? The next portion of the meeting is going to be the public hearing. Public hearing on the Locust Valley Central School District's proposed Smart Board School Bond Act Preliminary Investment Plan. So, all right? You're up?
Yeah, I got this. So this is the second part of our requirements for the Smart Schools Bond Act. We had explained this in our February meeting, that we were revising the plan and then going to be submitting, and provided that the board adopts this evening, we will submit the plan tomorrow. So the refresher on there is the Smart Schools Bond Act was over $1 billion bond that the state initiated in 2014, and each district received allocations based on their enrollment. And it was a reimbursable program, so districts had to develop these plans, they lay out the money, and then they do the work, and then they're reimbursed from the state. We have not yet, to date, done that here in Locust Valley. And our allocation is $386,000, and again, that's based on enrollment. So our calendar here for the most recent iteration of this is on February 8th. We submitted a preliminary plan during the public meeting. We posted that to our district website, and here we are this evening, and we're going to be asking the board to adopt the final plan, and then our intention is to move forward with submission of that plan tomorrow. And it's for security cameras for our elementary schools, the administration building, and the bus and maintenance garage. I think I had explained the last time that we were meeting that there were a number of iterations or versions of the plan that the district had started down the road of doing, but at the time, the approval process took too long, and when COVID came, there were elements of that plan, or of those plans, that we had to get done. I'll give you an example, Chromebooks. And when COVID took over, we had to purchase more Chromebooks for students, given that environment that we were in. So we've already moved forward with the security cameras at our middle school, high school complex. This now will help us finish that project with the cameras at the elementary buildings, the maintenance garage, and the district office. And that's it. So there's a resolution for the board's consideration.
Are there any questions? No? Do I have a motion? George? Oh, sure. That upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Board of Education approves the following. Whereas the Board of Education of the Locust Valley Central School District held a public hearing on March 22nd, 2022, and received public comment regarding the district's proposed Smart Schools Bond Act preliminary investment plan. And whereas the Board of Education has reviewed the final Smart Schools Investment Plan, SSIP, and determined that approval of the final step of SSIP is in the best interest of the district. Be it resolved that the final Smart Schools Investment Plan is hereby approved, and be it further resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes submission of the final SSIP to the New York State Education Department. Have a motion? George? A second? John? 4 of us. All in favor? Resolution's passed.
And now we have Ms. Smith from the Locust Valley Library, and each year the Locust Valley Library presents its budget to the community at a board meeting. Welcome.
You're doing the best budget ever.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to present the budget. This year, we have to do an increase, there's no way around it. The health insurance has gone up over 10%, and with the cost of living galloping, we have to offer a better raise to our employees this year. So this year, our tax increase will be 1.73%. We're still keeping it well under the tax cap. The amount to be raised by taxes is $1,512,909, and the overall budget expenses are $1,662,189. And that is about all I want to mention. Anybody have any questions about this? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Smith. We're going to go to public comment. Susan?
I want to thank the board for all the time that they take from their personal lives as volunteers for the school, for the Board of Education. From attending and viewing board meetings, it seems like there's a lot of politics. Politics has no place at Board of Education meetings. The DOE mission is to make sure our children get the best education they can. So when board members are sitting on the stage and want to educate the public about a bill in New York State, They should stick to the facts of where to write or call, not to say or insinuate to vote against or for a bill. When they tell the Parents' Council to send an email against the bill, that is not right. Just give information about the bill and let each person make their own decision. This is not a political campaign. Many people feel uncomfortable speaking at board meetings. I know Mr. Nolan has told everyone to be respectful for each other. It is not working. What else can be done so everyone is comfortable speaking? I think there should be more solutions offered by the board and community in criticism. I think it is especially important for the board not to air their differences in public. As far as working better together, in school we teach our kids conflict resolution techniques, how to breathe, how to use their voices, and more. When I was a kid, we did not learn these. Just like Mrs. Marchand at graduation told the 5th graders that friends are always kind to each other, and friends always help each other out. So how about having sensitivity training for the board and our community? Let's have seminars for the community on conflict resolution, having seminars on how to deal with stress, not just for parents, but to everyone in the school district. Learning to be more compassionate as we have taught our children to be. With less conflict, then there will be more trust with the board. I think it is important not to just go over the budget line by line, but to also let us know what the board and the administration have done to come up with this budget. How much input does the board have with the budget? How much time do you spend going over it? Why is it better to have teachers in-house versus outside consultants? And the board also make clear the consequences of not passing the budget. Will the teachers' salaries be cut, or will the after-school programs be cut? How does it harm our children if the budget is not passed? I think it is important for the board to explain not only does a great school district help our children and future generations, but it probably increases our property value. So, can we have seminars to learn more about conflict resolution for the community and board? Can we keep politics? No? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eisenberg. The students report.
With the spring upon us, senior class officers are working hard to make money for prom with various fundraisers like Pizza Friday, where we sell pizza every day, every Friday after school in March. Seniors are also busy applying scholarships, voting on superlatives for the yearbook, and purchasing their class t-shirts. Many seniors are also hearing back from their regular decisions for colleges in the next couple of weeks. At site-based meetings, students and administration discussed implementing monthly themes to spotlight admirable characteristics. This month's theme is responsibility and reflectiveness. In tune with this month's theme, Interact is hosting a book drive for reading reflections. Also this month, student government is organizing the annual intergenerational dinner. We are also preparing an Earth Day fundraiser where we will sell reusable Falcon bags. All proceeds are donated to the Environmental Defense Fund. There are flyers with QR codes to order outside, and I also would be happy to give you a flyer if you are interested in purchasing a bag. So consider celebrating Earth Day by purchasing a bag for a good cause.
As Dr. Turner mentioned, there was a very exciting end to the winter athletic season. With that, our spring season has begun. Our lacrosse teams had their first scrimmages last night. Yes, and at the beginning of this month, the high school science research students, along with research coordinator Mr. DeRose, judged the LBI Science Fair. The intermediate school students were so eager to share their projects with us and the community. And now, let's talk about something a little close to my heart. As we seniors, come to the beginning of the end. We have been in fundraising mode, as Kate mentioned. We have our pizza sales. We have also just had our first lip sync battle since 2019. It was a huge success. There were a lot of talented performances. And to further our fundraising efforts, the senior class and senior parents are now tackling the fashion show, which we hope to bring back this year. I would also like to highlight the robotics team and their accomplishments. Team 8013 Keeper competed in the Long Island Championship on March 12th and placed 6th overall. They also received first place in the Control Award earlier this year and 3rd place in the Inspire category. Both of these achievements are some of the most competitive awards in the robotics competition. So congrats to them. That's awesome.
The new turf field is ready. Student athletes are so excited to finally use the new turf. The lacrosse teams have had the opportunity to practice on the turf, and photos of the completed turf field are available on the district website. Teams are awaiting the arrival of the netting of the turf. Once this is installed, both the track and lacrosse teams will be able to practice simultaneously. The track team continues to persevere despite not having a rubberized track, with practices starting last Monday. The track team is excited for the upcoming season. The LB Dusters are working hard on their spring show, Shrek the Musical. Tickets are available for next weekend's production, and the cast is excited to finally put their hard work on display for the community to enjoy. The music department is continuing to prepare for the spring concert, with the band, orchestra, and chorus preparing pieces to perform. Music students are also very excited about the return of Music in the Parks, which is a competition in which groups perform in front of judges and spend the rest of the day at Six Flags Great Adventure. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, the last time this event occurred was in 2019, so students are really excited to be able to participate in this fun event once again. Music students also have the opportunity to participate in NISMA, which is a local music competition in which individuals prepare a piece of music for their instrument as well as scales and perform it in front of a judge to be scored. It is definitely a busy yet exciting time for the music students of Locust Valley. Another shout out to another team of the school, the Odyssey of the Mind Club also just recently competed in a local competition and performed very well. Thank you.
And Gia, I know this is a stressful time to be a senior, so I wanted to thank you guys for all that you do for your school, because I know how involved you guys are in the school. And Gia, did I see the girls basketball team participate in that lip sync?
You did.
You guys were awesome. Great job. Thank you.
There are 2 sign-ups. If you by accident signed up for the end of the meeting public comment but thought you were signing up for the beginning of the meeting, we're going to honor anybody that's 4 people on that list. No? Yeah.
I'm not sure where I belong.
Well, you just have to wait till the end. It's at the end.
Hi, my name is Beverly Vasilico, and I have been teaching and directing at the village preschool for more than 2/3 of my life. And I cry, if you know me. So I wrote my kids, and they said to me, Mom, just say football Falcon rule. But tonight it sounds like we have to say Locust Valley sports rule. That Oyster Bay team is incredible. I mean, the Oyster Bay, the basketball team was incredible. I'm so proud of them. Anyway, I've been listening to and pondering over the talk of pre-K in our district for the past few weeks. I'm not here to speak of the logistics, the how, the why, the when, the where, the who, the money, although I do believe that you all have yet to really hammer down all of the specifics and ramifications of what you have planned. I'm not sure it's going to work. I want to be the voice of the 3- and 4-year-old children who will be entering these big buildings in September. And yes, they will be 3, because some of them have late September or November or October, November birthdays. So these are babies. These are babies coming into this building at 3 years old. cry, some will hysterically cry, some will be very sad. In our small classroom settings, we are able to send an adult out of the room to soothe these kids. And we have other adults who come into our room to lessen the ratio. If you do what you say you're gonna do, there's no way you're gonna take one adult out to soothe one kid and leave 17 kids with another adult. And that's gonna happen, without a doubt. It's unacceptable for everything I ever learned in early, and I have a degree in master's in early childhood education. Just today, one of my 4-year-olds missing her mom for most of the morning. I held her, oh my God, it's going too quick. I took her for a walk, I told her I missed my mom too, we worked through it. It's not gonna happen here. Curriculum's gonna come down from New York State. They're not gonna sit and do math. When I do math, I sit on the rug and take 7 blocks out and decide how many are triangles, how many are rectangles. Pre-K is a hands-on learning situation. It has to be fun. It has to be where they want to come back the next day. I'm not sure that's going to happen in this big building. And I can't go on and on with all I have here. When I told some people I'm going to talk about those 3 and 4s, they told me it's not going to work. People are only concerned about numbers. And, well, if that's your legacy, you're doing the wrong thing. Because we have preschools in 4 churches in this district. 12 people will lose their job, which is okay. I mean, that's by the way, I probably am ready for retirement, but I have 2 baby grandgirls coming up to pre-K, and to be honest with you, I don't want them in this big building. I want them to be hugged and loved. Back to work.
All right, the others, you're waiting for the end?
No.
One? Yeah? Lisa?
Good evening, members of the board.
Can you see the mic? The hand mic.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Dr. Graham. My colleague Anne Marie Kahn from Locust Valley Day School and I, Tina Mihalsis from St. Gertrude's Preschool, have come to tonight's meeting to learn exactly what the board is proposing in regards to the school district's preschool program and to offer our perspective of such a program. Although we nor any of the parents in the school district that this would impact were asked for their feedback before this district program was proposed, we felt that it was important for you to understand how the program would affect the community as a whole. First, we applaud your efforts to give each preschool-age child in the school district access to pre-K. It is a worthy goal, especially in light of the fact that our neighboring school districts do offer a preschool program. I believe those preschool programs operate on a lottery system and are funded by the state, therefore being truly universal preschool. The program you are proposing, although also operating on a lottery system, is not state-funded, but will be included in the school budget as a line item or as an addendum. As such, it will be funded by the taxpayers of this school district. If it is funded by the taxpayers, then every 4-year-old should have the opportunity to enroll, not just the ones who are chosen in a lottery. We are also curious as to why this program isn't being funded by the state, as our neighboring school districts' preschool programs are. One idea from the last board meeting was to offer a spot in the program to a child for half the year and then offer the same spot to another child for the second half of the year. This would interrupt the child's educational experience and force him to have to transition into another school. It would also force parents to scramble to find another placement for their child mid-year, if there was one to be found. You are proposing 72 spots in this program. Based on this year's kindergarten numbers of approximately 104 preschoolers, if the incoming number of pre-K students is similar, that leaves approximately 32 preschool children for the 4 half-day preschools in the district. That number is even lower when you factor in the parents who want a full-day program and send them to programs in Oyster Bay and Glen Cove. 8 4-year-olds per preschool will not financially sustain these preschools. The 4-year-old year is the year that most budget-conscious parents register their child for, to help their child transition into kindergarten. Thinking that these preschools will be able to run in the same capacity on just their 2- and 3-year-old classes is an impossible task. Local tax-paying staff will have to be let go in an effort to keep these preschools open. If they can't stay open, where do the 2- and 3-year-olds attend school? It has a domino effect, as the closure of these preschools housed in church buildings will also adversely impact the churches financially. Why does the board want to go to the expense of outfitting 2 preschool classrooms and hiring staff when there are 4 existing preschools already providing the same service for less than what the proposed school district will? These existing preschools are part of the community and have been for decades. Parents have trusted these preschools with their children and many times had attended themselves. In order to reach a solution to this dilemma, we would like the board to consider the voucher system to fund the school district preschool program. The school district would allot each child in their lottery system a fixed amount to cover the tuition cost of the preschool they were enrolled in, thereby enabling the preschools in the school district to offer spots to children who would attend by lottery and children who would pay for their tuition so that these schools would continue to operate. In closing, this proposal could be a win-win situation for all concerned, the children, the parents, the existing preschools, and the taxpayers, if the proposal is handled in a fair and equitable way. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
McElmurray?
Good evening. Sorry President Nolan couldn't be here. Certainly board members, Dr. Graham, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Michael Murray. I'm living at 6 Satwood Road in Mayville, and I'll again begin with a thank you for the role that each of you play in our community. The role of advancing the next generation, the academic standards for our next generation, the fiduciary role that you deliver to ensure that the funds, the allocation that we entrusted to you as taxpayers is deployed in a responsible and effective manner. I've sat in this room with many of you, had great conversations. We've asked questions, we've challenged each other, provided support to each other. Input is critical to our collective goal of supporting and advancing our next generation. I'm grateful to see so many fellow residents here tonight asking and expressing that same opportunity to provide input. They want to support the academic standards, and they want to ensure we're forming the next generation of Locust Valley Bayvilles in the way that we were all did for our children. Speaking of family, I spent last March 8th with my family around the television watching the YouTube of the proposed budget Tony and Anthony presented. Thank you very much for that. It was an interesting dialogue in the family room when the line item came up about the preschool program. It was a significant expense line, one that had a door opening to greater as the success of the program may grow, so would the budget. And we wondered, had the board assessed the current preschool programs in our community? Had they found them inadequate? How could that be? Had the board sought input from leaders of these preschool programs for the ways that they could support children and family needs that hadn't had the opportunity there? Had the board looked at alternative ways to include a line, rather than including that line item of significance, a line item that could eliminate existing pathways of education and formation in our communities today? I have to say, I can just imagine there's a lot on your plate. So it's okay if it didn't happen. But this is a great opportunity for the board to pause. It's a line item in the budget. It doesn't have the opportunity to give input and dialogue with great leaders of academia and next generation formation like you've already heard tonight. And my father taught me, there's no greater value than that of education. But he also said, haste makes waste. And I ask you to follow Board Member Themis' comments from the last meeting. Why not seek input? Why not take a minute to listen to the words that you've heard tonight from the leaders of these community programs? Why not seek input from parents and children that have participated in these programs, but also those that weren't able to? Find out ways that we could build the bridge for these existing programs and meet the needs for all, but do so in a way that explores the best way to give preschool to each child of preschool age in a more cost-efficient, effective manner. Maybe vouchers is an opportunity, but ultimately we have feeder programs that exist today in our community. They are working. How do we make them better rather than eliminate them? Thank you.
Conclusion of public comment. We'll move to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Marchand. There was a lot involved in the superintendent's report this evening with our student recognitions, so I'm going to be very brief. As our students mentioned earlier, the turf field is now open for the middle school and high school student athletes. Practices for the sports for junior varsity and varsity sports started last week, and our athletes are very excited to be playing in the new facility. We do know that the track is still contingent upon temperature. That's what takes to pour the surface and then ultimately line it. But we hope in May and June that would be all done prior to graduation. Last week and this week, we had Dr. Dewey in district for presentations on the effects of drugs of abuse on the teenage brain. Dr. Dewey presented to parents and families last week in this room, and he's meeting with all of our high school and middle school students between this week and next week. The presentation was powerful and informative, and I wanted to thank Dr. Turner and Ms. Villa for their work with planning the presentation. Somebody mentioned, one of our students mentioned earlier that this week on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Locust Valley Jesters are presenting Shrek the Musical. I know that our students and staff have worked very hard, and some of you noticed that there was a venue change this evening for our board meeting. Typically, we've been in the auditorium. The reason we're not in the auditorium is all the sets are up and they're prepping. I think they're actually putting on or doing a run through right now. I can't wait to see it, and please visit our website for information on showtimes and tickets. And as I mentioned earlier, Ms. Kaplan is leaving the district. I thought that was a great time when all our athletic parents were here who've worked with Pam, and certainly sad for us that she's leaving, but we wish Pam the very best. And Pam, you will be truly missed. So thank you very much, and that's all for the superintendent's report.
Okay, we're going to move on to board reports. The audit committee. George.
No report.
Budget and finance. John.
There's no report today.
Brian is the facilities. Is there any update other than the cameras? Okay. For Brian, facilities, I mean.
I think that the only thing that that I wanted to add for the facilities is at the last facilities meeting, and typically the facilities committee has been meeting alongside with the budget committee. The facilities committee we made a recommendation to the facilities committee and the board. The facilities committee then took that recommendation to recommend to the board that we include within the $2.5 million transfer to capital line that's in our budget every year. It's a line item. That we include the lights, the bleachers, press box, and pathway down to the field from the parking lot. So that was the only update. That was a determination that the facilities committee made at the last meeting.
Thank you. Policy committee, we have not met. Professional development and board training is Sean, he's not here. Public relations and communications. Do you have anything?
Nothing, just to love to thank Pam. You work with her in our PR committee, and you've been wonderful to work with. Really, it's just been a pleasure, and we wish you all the best.
Being that we're in the public relations section, I'm going to just chime in with probably a little known story. In COVID, we had a graduating class that was stripped of everything, and Pam Kaplan called me up and said, Margaret, give me pictures. And we had been in the process of doing the fashion show. We were almost, I think the fashion show was going to be like that next week or so, right after we shut down. So we had this whole, I think we had maybe 2,000 pictures of the class of 2020. People literally sent in pictures from kindergarten on preschool on up for the entire graduating class. And Pam Kaplan did a daily montage of these children, I think for the remainder of the school year, April and May for sure, probably into June. And it was really just a bright light in everybody's day to log on to social media and see the montage of whatever it was. And she's so amazing. She went through this file that was completely haphazard, because I made it, and it had all different names of different pictures, and she figured out different groups of friends. She mixed theater with athletics and music, and it was just a beautiful representation, and it was a gift to the class of 2020 that I've never thanked you for. And I've adored you, and I think you're fantastic, and you are going to be very missed. Very, very missed. Any other reports from the Board of Trustees?
I've got just one quick excerpt from the CPC committee. The CPC committee met a week or two ago, Dr. Graham, And there was one item in the meeting that they asked that we bring back to the board, which was the calendar for the upcoming school year. They had brought up some concerns and questions regarding the start of the school year as to whether or not we should be starting before or after Labor Day. I know Dr. Graham did explain that this has been approved by the board. He had presented the calendar to us, but in good faith just wanted to bring it back to the board and see if anyone had any interest in revisiting the calendar. The concerns were that there really is only one other day that we could take out of the calendar, which would be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So I will open it to the board if anybody would be interested in, I guess, reconsidering the calendar or wanted to discuss. I'll just make sure to open it up.
How many days are we opened up before Labor Day?
2, it's 1 staff development day and 1 student day.
And that is the 6th, the student day? That's the 6th?
I think we come back the Thursday before Labor Day, and then we have off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then come back Tuesday.
What if we moved the one day of students to the other side, and where do we make up for that? That's the question.
Well, that's what Ms. Demas had said, is that the only day to make up a student day is that day before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we've always traditionally had Friday and Monday off for Labor Day? You know, 4
I
days.
think we've just always started after Labor Day, but last year with the calendar being so late, I think it was one of the first years that we've ever had a school day start, or the school year start before Labor Day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is the start of school, so the kids are coming back for one day.
But I think the proposed is that they're gonna come back on a Thursday and then be off on a Friday and on Monday.
Right, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's what it currently is.
That's what we had originally approved, right?
Right.
And that's why I'm asking, why is there the extra Friday off?
It doesn't have to be a day off. You could have the 4th, the Friday as an instructional day as well. In fact, that's what some other districts do. There was a conversation here around this being a beach community and wanting the additional time on the holiday weekend. So I think that that's why that decision.
Oh, that's why that day got made too.
But I think it just stands that traditionally, with exception to when the calendar is really late, that we don't start until after Labor Day. You guys all know my point of view. I was outvoted.
Me too.
Isn't that Wednesday before Thanksgiving usually a day off? Because the teachers always take that day off, don't they?
I mean, I don't know the history. I don't know the history, but if the day was an instructional day, it wouldn't be a day that people are taking off.
Right.
You know, it would be an instructional day. But my understanding is that historically that has been a day off from school here, right?
In typical years, I think the way it works is we have enough days to give both because of the calendar days. And this year, unfortunately, and last year, we were kind of stuck with a late window.
Is it common? This was the first experience that I saw where we had the Wednesday. You know, usually school's through Wednesday and then the Thursday and Friday off. Is that common out here in other districts as well?
This district has traditionally been the Wednesday off, Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Right.
But other districts.
Thanksgiving.
Other districts, they attend on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I know that a few years ago, I think it was 2019, where there was some consideration about taking away the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and the community was very concerned.
Yeah, wasn't that the year that we were trying to make a full 2 weeks, the way that Christmas and New Year's felt was awkward, and we were trying to do a full 2 weeks. And we thought to take the Wednesday from Thanksgiving, give everyone a full 2 weeks, and nobody wanted that.
Right.
Do we have a day anywhere else that we can steal around the winter break or the spring break?
The break around Christmas is 5 days. It's Monday through Friday,
Right.
the week in between Christmas and New Year's. And the February break is 5 days. That's a break. And I think there was questions from the board about the 6th of April. You know, taking that away as an instructional day. I think the 6th of April is the first day of Passover. So all of the breaks are very tight with the holidays. So it really was a matter of the starting before Labor Day or that Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Just putting it out there, just wanted to make sure I brought it back to the board. So, I don't know if it's something that we want to leave as is, or. Both days, I mean, either day is a good day to use school.
I don't have a viable, I can't even.
No, it's like you flip a coin and you pick one. I don't really think there's going to be a.
I think a significant portion of our community thinks that we're starting before Labor Day. We took the Wednesday back, we have another portion.
Christmas is a Sunday, the 25th, so we start the last day of school is the 23rd, Friday. And then you have New Year's Day is Sunday, and we go back on the 2nd.
Yeah, go back on, you go back on the 3rd.
Oh, sorry, yeah, we go back on the 3rd. I was looking at the, yeah, we go back on the 3rd.
Another day we lost.
Right.
Yeah.
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 It's just the way the days fell, that it gets very tight.
And we have a couple days baked in for snow days, right?
Well, we have 182 days in the calendar. There's 180 student days and 2 staff conference days. The minimum that we have to meet is 180. So we do have 2 days built in that if there were snow closures,
Right.
yeah, we don't have to make those days up.
And January 2nd is the federal holiday, right?
Yeah.
Do we know next year when Labor Day falls? I'm just looking now, I'm wondering if we could. Yes, not this coming September, but the following.
So that would be Labor Day of 2023.
Yeah, so it looks like it's on the 4th, which puts us back on a better schedule, hopefully. So hopefully maybe we can look at this and just say this is temporary, we can revisit this next year and see if we
Yeah.
can make it work to get school started after Labor Day.
I think we heard that throughout this process too, and it wasn't something that I think if we preferred that we would have, if we had the choice that we would have chosen, but it didn't seem like we had much of a choice.
Thank you. All right, budget presentation number 4. Whatever.
Okay, good evening, everyone. This is the remaining timeline leading up to the budget vote on May 17th. We will adopt the budget at the next meeting, April 12th. The proposed tax levy is 1.49%. It's well below our maximum allowable of 2.36. And the amount of the increase of our levy dollars this year, for next year over this year, is $1,248,000. The expenses on the top 5 lines were all reviewed at the past 2 board meetings, and the details of the line-by-line for each of those categories are available on the website. And the total budget-to-budget increase for the year is 1.73%. And down at the bottom, we have the estimated revenues that are not, state aid will be final on April 1st, but we do have the projected amount here as an increase. And you can see from this graph that the state aid plus the property tax revenue make up close to just about 98% of our total revenue. The other items are really reimbursements of things that we have spent, like, District of Labor, location, District of Residence, services to private school students. Those are really reimbursements for monies that we spend. As Dr. Graham mentioned, the transfer to the capital fund of $2,500,000 is to include the installation of the new bleachers and the press box, field lighting pathway, and the PA sound system. This recommendation came from the Facilities Committee to the Board of Education at their last meeting.
Thank you. The budget includes maintaining low class size, teaching positions, all current APIB and college level offerings, current BOCES career education placements, access to Northwell Health Mental Health Partnership, which is urgent mental health care for students, for any child living in the community. Summer academic program, which began last year, will be extended into this year for all grades K through 12. Revised elementary day began this year. It will continue. That's an expanded recess and lunch period. Our TC products with teacher support, and all of our STEM opportunities, including coding, robotics, hackathon teams, which have emerged through our use of the KidOEO platform. Some additions and enhancements we're looking is the mystery science kits at all the elementary levels, additional flexible seating, summer enrichment camp, which we're working on, which will offer STEM, music, arts, theater opportunities to run this summer. We're targeting in July to do that. Expansion of the high school intern-extern program, and an enrollment addition of Intro to Artificial Intelligence course through LIU. We also look to expand the use of Promethean boards in about 20 of our classrooms. We have to replenish touchscreen Chromebooks. We really want the touchscreens. Some of the younger learners have not had touchscreens, so we intend to make them all. A pre-K program, as you've heard. High school Mandarin language elective. Finally, full expansion to K-12 ICT, so we've been working on that for several years. We'll have it fully implemented next year. And things like student engagement opportunities. So we have a beautification club, international dance club, neuroscience and pre-med clubs at the high school, and MS athletics, including volleyball, basketball, winter track. We're looking at gardening in the elementary schools as well. We want to expand that program and be able to have access and opportunity for all students, and a gardening program there. The expansion of reading intervention programs. We work very hard to make sure that our staff is trained on an array of intervention programs, and that will continue with programs such as Wilson and LLI.
So we're required to present the budget in component format. The administrative component accounts for the administration, Board of Education, most of the business office functions, and it amounts to 9.9% of the 2022-23 budget. The program budget includes all instructional items, student services, athletics and transportation, and that amounts to 77.83% of the 22-23 budget. And the capital budget includes facilities, any construction cost, and our annual debt service, and that amounts to 12.18% of the 22-23 budget. These percentages have remained relatively consistent from year to year. And finally, as I mentioned, we're adopting the budget on April 12th. We'll have a required public budget hearing on May 3rd, and the budget vote will be on May 17th. Any questions? Hi, Barney.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Any questions from the board team?
One quick question. A few people have asked, and just to make sure it's clear. The summer enrichment program is not replacing the summer rec program, right? We're still maintaining the summer rec program.
It's an addition. It's an addition to.
I have a follow-up question to that. We had received funds during COVID. I think it was the $1.1 million, and I know one of the line items was for that summer enrichment program. I guess, can you just talk about a little bit about how that money is being dispersed between the, I don't know if it's a grant money or the money we received from the federal government, and then the line item for the budget?
So, as I believe what we put in the grant were the salaries of the summer school director, and we put in hours of the teachers, full-time equivalent hours of summer school teachers.
And then, I guess, what would fall under the budget item? So you have the director and then the salaries for the teachers?
Yeah, the line item in the budget is called summer school salaries. So a portion of those lines in the budget would be allocated to the grant funds. They would be charged in the special aid fund, where the revenue from the grant was received, and those salaries would be allocated there.
We don't have a breakdown now, I guess, of.
I have.
Oh, you
I
do?
have it in my
Oh,
office right
okay.
here, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board then?
Yeah, Tony, you're saying that the percentages of the breakdown of the program budget, administration budget, and the capital budget has remained the same percentages throughout the last few years?
Yeah, the percentages are relatively constant, yes.
So 77.83% of program budget has been right around that number?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question, just about that, the COVID money. I remember last year there was a certain percentage that had to be spent on, I guess, like COVID relief type products or programs. Where are we at with that money? Have we spent it all? What was
So
the percentage?
the 1,000,001 we pretty much allocated over the 3 years that the grant was applied to, which is next year and the following 2. And the summer school is considered, making up the learning gaps and things like that. So that's how we related it to COVID, that we were using it to, help pay for learning deficits or bringing students back up to where they want to be or for that.
And are there any strings attached to that money? Nothing.
No.
And I just wanted to ask about Northwell. Last year, I was firmly against it being part of this school. And I'm just wondering, where we're at in assessing it year to year. Is this something now that's permanently here forever because we had it once? It's just gonna roll over? And where does their scope end? Because I have seen that we use their programs, not just, for mental health. It's like, oh, let's call Northwell. They might have a program for that. Oh, let's call Northwell. That wasn't how it was presented, and I actually did just watch their presentation at another district about 4 weeks ago, and they don't talk about extending past what they originally were saying that they were going to be here for.
So in terms of Northwell, in terms of assessing, as of the end of February, we talked at last board meeting, we had 50 visits there, 33 families that visited the facility. Oftentimes at Northwell, for those who aren't aware, it's a type of care that is an intermediate type of care, and it's urgent mental health care. Students who are looking at self-injurious behaviors, manifestation of depression, suicidal ideation, who otherwise would have typically been hospitalized, but the hospitalization may not be required. Northwell's facility in Mineola is an area where we can have access to immediate care within 1 hour. A child is generally seen, sometimes shorter than that, to be seen by a psychologist on staff to be done with an assessment. Now, we obviously do assessments at school. It is a different type of care. It's linkage. The main thing is they specialize in what's called the warm handoff, making sure that the student gets connected to mental health resources, which is something that's very difficult to do. If anyone's ever tried to do that, you try to get an appointment with a therapist, it can take months. With Northwell, it really is immediate. If they can't link a student to care, they will put them in care. In terms of scope, a parent would have to sign a release for us to be able to discuss anything with Northwell. That's not atypical to any time that we work with any mental health provider. A parent doesn't have to do that. Our greatest concern is the child gets the care that he or she needs. So the assessment is the facility is being used. And the way that we look at it is, we have had great success with students being linked. We have kids being seen when they need it. They're not being hospitalized, which can be a very traumatic experience. For any of you, unfortunately, as a former principal, I've ridden in the back of an emergency vehicle. A student had to be seen in Stony Brook, sat around for quite a few hours, and in sights and sounds and surrounded in not a therapeutic setting. That's the best that they had. This is a facility that allows us to not do that. Given the fact that we've had 50 visits as of February, there have been more this month, so we still have to assess that from a range of ages, from elementary to high school. It has been deemed a success. Now again, if the board decides not to continue that, that is the board's prerogative. It's something
I'm
that
just
we
wondering, what
recommend.
is, did you compare the numbers from maybe a pre-COVID year to now? Where are we at numbers-wise and the ages? You know what I'm saying? Like you just mentioned elementary school. How many elementary school kids are being
I don't have that
referred?
information right now, but I can tell you that typically, and this is the, unfortunately, I think most people don't understand this about schools. In a typical year, pre-COVID, we are sending students to the hospital at times. It happens, but I don't want to say to scare anyone that it's a relative frequency, that it's a daily occurrence, but there is a degree of frequency with it. This allows us to not do that, to make sure that there is a linkage to care. Do they offer other programs? Absolutely. Do we avail ourselves of them? Depends. Some of them are about school avoidance, anxiety, working with students in that. There are parent workshops that assist people in that regard as well. You know, so I think in terms of the reach and the scope, it really is contingent on the district. If we assess it, our students are using it. You know, our counselors are wonderful. This is an area that leads beyond, because we can't carry kids at home. We can try to make that connection. Northwell helps us to do that and helps connect them to outside providers, which we recognize the students need. But again, it's a yearly decision. The board can choose to not be a part of it anymore.
Do they offer or recommend any type of generalized surveying of the kids, you know, in a classroom, you know, some type of marker, you know, like I know surveys are put out, you know, emotional surveys, things like that. Is that part of it?
Northwell is not putting
to find the
They're not
problems?
putting out surveys in our district.
Are we utilizing any programs? Are we utilizing any surveys?
Well, we've done mental health screeners that we've reached out to parents to give us some sense of assessment of where their children are. We certainly triage and identify students we feel are at risk within school. They're supported, they're all given individual supports. That's the beauty of Locust Valley, is the ratio that we have is small, it's a very intimate community. So we can really look at every child. We have weekly meetings where we review status reports, look at kids, look at interventions, are they working, try to work with families. So there is a great deal of care.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a quick question as a follow-up? I know it's a fairly relatively new program, so maybe for the newer parents in the room or watching at home that didn't go through the presentations last year, I had somebody come up to me today and say, so how much money do we get from Northwell? And I said, we don't get money from Northwell, it's a program we're paying for. And they were just a little bit confused as to how the program works. So if you could kind of explain how we're paying for a certain service, but that this is something that would then go through their insurance. I think if you could just kind of give that.
So it's twofold. One, we pay roughly $80,000, correct, Tony? 40 of which is aidable, so 40 of which we get back from policy's aid. So it's roughly about a $40,000 outlay per district, for our district of this size every year. The way it works is it assures immediate access to care. I believe the hours are now, they've gone on, they've extended them from about 8 to 6, where children are guaranteed to be seen at any age. Students who arrive and don't have insurance are still seen. If they don't have insurance, they'll work to help connect families to insurance, so they have people there. There's bilingual staff as well, so that helps with students in our community who are Spanish speaking as well. I think when you look at the difference is we're looking at a student who needs more than a therapy session, but needs it immediately, you know, in that sense. Can't wait days is talking about self-injurious behavior, or maybe even has a plan of ideation. Now, again, there are times where Northwell will assess and say this child needs to be hospitalized, and that's okay. And they have direct linkage to get the student a bed in the hospital. If it's a rehab, they have more. They're more connected and linked to care than we are. In terms of the insurance piece, if someone has insurance, they will pay the insurance, and they will go through insurance. But nevertheless, they don't turn anyone away at any point. I think when you look at it, it's a type of facility that is really unusual. It gives a type of care that no one else does. It helps us to be able to remain positive, for a student to remain positive toward therapy and help to get the assistance immediately. And should the parent decide, which most often they do, it links our mental health staff with theirs so that we can triage and work together as a team to try to help the children.
And of the 50, you said there were 50 visits thus far this year?
Yes.
Do you have a breakdown between students that we've referred versus families? Families are able to go unilaterally, right?
I apologize, I don't have that right now, but that's certainly information I have. And the vast majority were referred from the buildings.
But families do have the choice of
Absolutely.
going unilaterally, right? Just
Right.
referencing that they're part of Locust Valley.
Absolutely. We've had people who walked in there. They don't they just have to demonstrate they live within the confines of the district, they don't even have to attend the district, and the district does not get information back about who those individuals were. We'll get a number, there was a 15-year-old, but again, that helps us to keep statistics so that we know the usage.
One more question, and you may not know the answer. When we were first told about it, there was going to be a set amount of districts for this particular location. Do you know how much it's grown?
It's
Because I've heard
I
through the
believe
grapevine.
the initial number we were given was 7, they moved it to 9, but they doubled the staff. The
Okay.
facility, we visited the facility, quite a few of us. It's a beautiful facility, it's expensive, it's large enough where they can maintain it, but once they were going to expand, they did double the staff.
Yeah, because my memory, if my memory is correct, they only had one psychologist on staff
At
last
that
year.
time, right,
Yeah.
but they've
So they
increased
have
staff.
more?
Yes,
That's a heavy load, 9 districts,
yes.
one doctor.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, well, that concludes our new business portion. We'll now go into the consent agenda. I'll ask if there's anything that the board would like to discuss on consent agenda this evening. Does anyone want to pull anything to act separately on the consent agenda? We have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. Trustee Themis, second. Trustee Vestalino, all in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you. Okay. We'll now go into public comments. Lisa McLaughlin.
Yes, I actually had budget questions. Is that allowed?
I mean, you can ask them. Sure.
Okay. I might have missed it
Oh,
on
we
that
didn't-
screen with the Mandarin. Do we have driver's ed
You can pause
in the budget?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I apologize.
We do?
Mhm.
Okay, because I didn't see it up there. And do we need any new cars or anything like that for the program?
They weren't requested this year.
They weren't requested? Okay. And I want to thank the district for providing me with these freedom of information requests. I'm not a accountant, so I have a question. What does it mean if something is an open purchase order?
We open a purchase order for a vendor when we don't know, if we don't know how much we'll be spending. So it's not the payment of a particular item, but we know it's a vendor that we might use. So we'll open it for an estimated amount. If we don't use it, we close it. And if we have to increase it for an actual invoice, we'll increase it. And that's how it goes.
Okay, so the code that it's assigned to, can you give me an idea of how much money is in that code per se?
I don't have the line-by-line budget with me.
Okay,
I don't have it with me.
so do I have to file another FOIL request for that, or?
No, you could send me an email.
Okay,
Well,
thank,
it's on one, it's on one, well, the line, you can look up that line.
That
on the
would be on
website.
there?
Absolutely, the
Okay,
line by line is on the website.
okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Public comment?
Oh, no, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Romy Bennett.
Good evening, I'm Romy Bennett. I'm the president of the Locust Valley School Employees Association. I am here to thank the Board of Education for proposing and including in the budget a pilot pre-K program for the 22-23 school year. The spending of $300,000 of the $91.5 million budget, or in simpler terms, 1/3 of 1% of the budget, has potential to have an amazing return on investment. Ensuring that young children benefit from their early learning experiences is essential to building a strong and productive society. Scientific research has established that if all children are to achieve their developmental potential, it is important to lay the foundation during the earliest years of life for lifelong health, learning, and positive behavior. Locust Valley teachers are highly qualified to help lay that foundation. A district-run public pre-K staffed with highly qualified, trained early childhood professionals working within a well-implemented, evidence-based curriculum will lead to children that are kindergarten ready. Throughout the years, our teachers have identified the skills that are lacking when children do not attend a pre-K program, and they will be able to target these issues. Ongoing independent research and evaluation has found that during the year before kindergarten, pre-K children develop literacy, language, and math skills faster than non-participating children. Gains made by pre-K children are 37 to 176% greater than those of non-pre-K children, and those gains persist into the elementary grades and beyond. Our teachers will focus on age-appropriate activities that build fine motor skills, gross motor skills, reading readiness, including letter and sound identification and formation, math readiness, including number sense and problem solving, critical thinking, peer relationships with respect, taking turns, cooperation, and patience, and of course, suitable play. A community with high levels of educational attainment is a community that is less vulnerable to poverty, unemployment, and crime. Reduced need for public spending on remedial education, criminal justice, and social support programs are key reasons why pre-K is such a sensible investment. Pre-kindergarten is an essential step towards preparing our community's children to succeed in school and life. I applaud the Board of Education for taking this path and adhering to the mission to educate the whole student and inspire in everyone a passion for lifelong learning by providing a safe and nurturing environment dedicated to academic excellence and the development of students' autonomy, accountability, and commitment to community. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ms. Fenn. That concludes our public comment period. I do want to just, you have anybody over there? I'm sorry. I have people here. Just a couple things. First of all, I apologize for my lateness this evening. I did have a work event that ended slightly late, and the traffic on Northern Boulevard sometimes is unbearable. However, I do want to point out that I did receive 2 copies of the the North Shore Leader, and this really warmed my heart. I know the girls varsity basketball team was honored this evening, and I just wanted to share, my sentiment. It was incredible. It was great to be at the game, great to see the Falcon spirit alive, electrifying, and really congratulations to the girls varsity basketball team on an amazing, amazing season. I also want to provide some early congratulations to our jesters who will be performing this coming weekend at Shrek. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful show. I'm looking forward to attending. And finally, I do want to acknowledge, I know Vice President Marchand spoke, but I want to also send my remarks to an incredible individual. Back in 2008, 14 years ago, we met Pam Kaplan. Pam made and continues to make a tremendous impact to our entire school community, often the unsung hero, the guide on the side, behind the scenes, capturing our athletes, our performers, and all of our student learners. And we are forever grateful for everything you have provided this district, and we wish you the very best in the future. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure.
Is your last day Friday? Thursday. Thank you. Always call our good side. Without, there's no further business. I'd like to now move into executive session to discuss an item related to a particular student. Please note that the executive session is a closed portion of the board meeting. Any action will be taken in public. Get home safely, everyone. Thank you for coming.